Hello, my name is Chris Raschka. I'm so happy to be here at the Mazza Museum. And I wanted to just speak briefly about 4 books that have recently been published. Starting in, and I'll go in chronological order. Here's a book called Fortune Cookies. One time it was actually called Fortune Cookie, but now it's Fortune Cookies, and it is written by Albert Bitterman, a pseudonym of a friend of mine. I don't even know if he wants his real identity to be known or not, but I'll just say he's a wonderful writer and knows a lot about children. This is his, I think it's his first text for kids, and it's my first pull the flap book. It's a wonderful kind of almost mystical text about getting a box of fortune cookies. And each day this little girl pulls a fortune cookie out of one of her, or pulls a fortune out of her fortune cookie. For instance, on Sunday my fortune said, "Today you will lose something you don't need." And guess what? My tooth came out. This is a very simple story of losing her tooth, getting a kite, finding a cat, losing a cat, finding cats. And it's a very, as I say, simple but sort of surprising and fun to pull on the tabs. I try to keep the art super simple, super graphic, to focus primarily on this pulling and looking. It was a lot of fun to do. So that's Fortune Cookies by Albert Bitterman. Next in line is A Ball for Daisey, which is a book that I worked on for many years. It's based on a little happening that happened to my son when he had a beloved ball that broke, and it was in some ways, my feeling was that it was his first awareness of something that couldn't come back. It was his first awareness of the one-directional way time goes and how sad that can be. So I tried to address that feeling by turning him into a little dog named Daisy, who gets a ball and then has her ball break when a poodle, probably mistakenly, yes, of course, the poodle didn't mean to break the ball, breaks the ball. And then the aftermath of that, and it ending in happiness with a new ball. It's told completely wordlessly, which was a great challenge to get to say enough but not too much. But it's also a very liberating kind of thing because, after all, much of our relationship with dogs is nonverbal, and dogs say a lot just with how they are. And of course, our first, I mean, when we're children, we might be nonverbal as well. So telling a wordless story is quite satisfying. Next came Otter and Odder, a love story by James Howe. I've known Jim for over 10 years, probably more like 15, and we'd always wanted to do a book together. And this is a story of an otter who falls in love with his dinner, falls in love with a fish, and it's kind of, well, it's about food, but it's also about friendship. It might be about having the wrong friends or something, or not being allowed to have friends with who you want to have friends with, because all of the chattering other animals say it is not appropriate, here they are, for you, otter, to become a friend with your food. Fish and otters are not friends, but a wise old beaver shows Otter the way, and it becomes a happy ending. The paintings are done. These paintings were quite small when I did them, and they were enlarged for this book. It's watercolor and colored pencil. And finally, the most recent book that came out in the spring of this year, 2013, Everyone Can Learn to Ride a Bicycle. This book was, the concept of this book, or the subject matter of this book, was suggested by one of my editors, Ann Schwartz at Random House. I had written she knew that I rode my bike everywhere in New York. I wrote an op-ed a few years ago, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but seriously as well, stating that, as far as I could tell, I was the only person in New York City on a bicycle who obeyed the traffic laws. And I decided to do this as almost a challenge for myself, to stop for every red light, which is very difficult when everyone else is not stopping. So I wrote about that, and it became kind of a funny little thing. But as a result of it, Anne said, well, you have to write a bicycle book now. So this is what came out. It is a telling of a father and her daughter going through that kind of ritual of choosing a bike, trying to learn, the father trying to be helpful but not too helpful, and crashing again, and trying until, by luck, grace, and determination, you are riding a bicycle. And now you'll never forget how.